Hey guys, this is John. Welcome to another Clock as a Weapon video. 5 games of 3-minute chess. No increment. You guys know the drill. I'm playing FIDE Master Jonah B94. Alright, bishop f5. We have a slow Slav on our hands. I like this line for black. I think it's pretty reliable. Kind of a London system reversed. Okay, let's play bishop b4. Just discourage white from playing e4. Do I have to worry about knight takes d5? I'm going to play queen e7 just in case, because knight takes d5 would be a discovery on the bishop. I'd prefer to avoid having to worry about that undefended piece. So, all right, let's take here and then play e5 thereafter. I have not played much blitz chess in the past couple months, so this session will be interesting. Try to play it in true Clock as a Weapon style, right, guys? All right, so a bit of a standoff in the center here with the central tension. My opponent's playing quick, good moves, I think. He'll probably play bishop h4 here. And I don't think I want to release the tension quite yet. I'm thinking about playing bishop c7 here, just for safekeeping. Avoid any d-file problems. Puts the bishop on g3. Okay, I could play knight b6 followed by taking on d4, although I'm not thrilled about giving white the option of knight takes d4. I gotta watch this knight potentially coming into the f5 square. He might even consider knight h4 here. I don't think it's a disaster or anything. I can always play queen e6. Okay, queen b3. Taking drops the bishop on c7, although I do have knight c5 maybe in that case. Kind of weird. No, I don't. Okay, could play... could play b6 or b5. Let's play b5. Kind of an odd move to make in this structure. If d5, I'm going to play knight c5 then. Okay, so he steps there. Could go queen e6, as I was saying. Yeah, I'm under a little bit of pressure here. Let's play g6, knight takes g6. Don't blunder that. Let's play queen e6. And I might take this way, just to keep the knight out. Maybe he'll play d5 against this, I'm not sure. Plays knight g6. Okay, so goes after this pawn, which is somewhat pinned. Okay, could take c7, rook c8. That's not as crazy as it seems. I'm going to do that. There might be some issue on e7. Oh, I played rook c8 first. Oh, man, that was very foolish. Oh, man. That was a very foolish decision. I got my move order mixed up here. All right, well, shaking off the rust in this first game. That was just a very bad mistake. And my rating goes toppling down to 2744 from, yeah, probably close to a peak, honestly, for Blitz prior to that. Yeah, I meant to play take on d4 first, bishop takes c7, and then rook c8 and claim that white has two pieces under attack, but I did the classic mistake where you play your second move first. So, ooh, that hurts. All right, well, let's chalk up that loss. Playing 5 games, so plenty of time to recover. Yeah, I think my opening play left something to be desired there because I played bishop b4 ostensibly to try to stop e4, but then I soon retreated the bishop to d6 and white got in e4 anyways, so somewhat questionable play there by me. All right, last samurai. This is Ali Marandi, Grandmaster Ali Marandi. Let's play the queen d8 Scandi. Okay, knight f6. Knight e2, that's unusual. Okay, let's play a6. Just play around with the idea of b5. So I'm familiar with this position with the knight on f3. I wonder if the knight being on e2 makes a material difference here. I don't really think it will. Let's play bishop e7, so now I can gain a tempo, attack this pawn. And try to go knight bd7 and take with either the bishop or the knight on c5. He'll probably play a4. People usually like to stab at the queen side a little bit. And let's take with the bishop. If we swap, I'm kind of holding his bishop hostage on b3. I like that. Okay, I think this position is already perfectly fine for me. I'm going to play king e7, roll with my king in the middle. Okay, he might be looking to pull the bishop back to c2. Let's play this, though, first. He'll probably put a rook on d1, I imagine. Knight to d4 instead. Okay. e5 allows knight f5. Okay, let's take. And let's play rook c8. So we've got to watch this construction. My bishop needs to guard the a6 pawn, but no big deal for now. Let's play knight d7. And if rook e1, I might tuck the king on f8 just to avoid knight f5 business. Yeah, let's tuck the king here. Now he could play b4. b4 might actually be a decent move. Goes there instead. So he's looking for a trade. I'm going to try to keep some tension, and then on b4 play knight a4 and look to attack b2. Yeah. See how he reacts to that. Plays his rook there. Okay. Maybe g5. g5 is interesting. Gain a little bit of space. Stop him from squeezing me on the king side. Okay. Bishop d5, perhaps? Looks reasonable. Let's do it. f4. Somewhat surprising move there. So if I take, he's going to play rook f1, I suppose. Interesting decision. Okay, yeah, I could see why he would play that. What about f6? Is f6 worth a look? Knight g4 might be an issue. All right, let's take. So rook f1 or rook f2, what's it going to be? Probably rook f1, because I think he wants this rook guarding b2, yeah. Now I have bishop c4, perhaps. It's just a trade, though. Nothing special. Let's think about f6 as well. Let's play f6. And on rook takes f4, play king e7. See where that knight goes. Yeah, now I'm somewhat at the mercy of his knights, though, I got to admit. Rook f8. Knight f5, king d7. That's an annoying one. Very annoying move, actually. I think my position's a little too shaky in the center right now, and I'm way down on the clock. Yikes. Okay, king d7, I gotta do something, but this is not pleasant. He's got a massive strategic advantage because my pawns are going to be weak after knight takes d5. Well, at least my knight on a4 is somewhat restricting his rook, but I also have a huge problem with the clock. Man, chess is an unforgiving game, guys. You take a couple months off, encounter difficulties in your first clock as a weapon session. But, you know, I've come to expect that over the years. Let's go here. Take, try to get something. He can double check me, but I have king e5. So I don't actually think he'll do that. Rook d2, knight c4. This position is probably not half bad for me. Okay, I'm still in here with a shout. E5? No. Let's go here. Knight coming to c4 if I can. Step here. And now e5 coming next, I hope. Let's push this guy. Man, I don't know what to play. That's not a valid pre-move. Oh boy. This is not looking good. Yeah, I just got flagged hard there. I had that coming though. Okay, so lost that one. Yeah, managed to stabilize things, but the damage on the clock had been done at that point, huh? Don't think I really had much. He was covering the G file too. One extra pawn, but some serious technique required here, which I did not have time for. All right. So-face in disguise. Let's play d5 again. It is Sunday, by the way, if you're curious. Sunday evening. Okay, let's take on c4. We'll play the Slav. And bishop f5. This line. Okay, I'll play e6. I'll give him the bishop pair. Bishop g5. Not familiar with this move. Let's play knight bd7. And I might go queen a5 so as to meet this with knight e4. Can I do that? I think I can. Is this not an issue for him? Briefly looked at queen b3 here, but knight takes g5 seems unsound because I'm also guarding f7 in the process. And if I get to take on c3, let's say he moves his bishop to safety. If I get to take on c3, that looks disastrous for him because pawn takes, queen takes. That'll be a fork on the king and the bishop. So he does play queen b3. I think I gotta take now. And on h4, trying to drive my knight away, I think I can play knight e6. That actually looks pretty reasonable. Bishop e7 here. Yeah. The queen's even guarding from this square. Okay, now how to stabilize. Rook f8, looking for rook f6. Seems fine. I won't be castling short anymore, but for a piece for a pawn, I'm willing to go through some risks to keep that. And yeah, I don't see the compensation for him. I could take here and then pull the queen back to d6. Don't see anything wrong with that again. If he plays rook b1, that is. I might even be able to take here, although this is a little worrisome. Queen d6 looks like a solid move here. Don't really want to castle queenside, so yeah, let's play queen d6. Pulls the queen to c4. All right, let's go knight f6. Put the queen on d7, and maybe the knight comes to d5 after this. And if the knight goes to d5, maybe I can play king f7, king g8, castle by hand. Looks good. Let's play a6, put a stop to any fun he has with him coming to a6. Ooh, yeah, and I really like the knight here. Guarding both of these squares, very solid position. Now, I don't want to play king f7, although honestly, actually, I could. Yeah, let's do that, because if knight b6, I can play rook d8, no problem. Oh my gosh, I dropped my queen. Oh, man. I did not see that knight was attacking my queen as well. Guys, this is a brutal example of why you should not take a couple of months off from internet chess. Okay, let's play rook b5. Now, he actually played a rather crazy move himself here. This is still a game. Okay, collect yourself, John. This is not over. You blundered your queen, but you're actually doing okay material-wise. Let's play the knight back here now. Maybe go after h5. Although I am inviting rook c7. Is this an issue? Don't want my coordination to get too messed up here. Yeah, that could be an issue. I gotta move faster now too. I'm not quite sure what to play here, honestly. Let's give a check. Try to target f2, I guess. Maybe knight e4. And if the queen comes to e6, I'll have to play rook e8. I can take here now, I suppose. Okay. He's just pushing. Man, oh man. I don't know about this. Bishop f6, trying to get at f2. Can he play a7 and just give his queen? He's going to try it. Quite frankly, I don't see how I punish him for that. Well, let's give this a shot. Yeah, my bishop is sort of out of play here. Just plays rook b7. Okay, doesn't play rook b8. Yeah, now rook b8's winning, though. I was kind of stuck there anyways. And stuck on the clock. Okay. Man, the hits just keep on coming in this session. That was just awful. So, wow. Complete blind spot playing king f7 and allowing knight b6 with this. All right, well, chalk it up. Nope, that's not what we're chalking up. We need to chalk up this. So I've castled queenside, 0-0-0. 2 games left in the session. Playing the same player. All right. It's so funny because I thought I was being solid too by, oh yeah, plant my knight on d5. Let's play bishop g5 here. And then he can attack my rook. No problem, I'll go from there. Definitely didn't work out that way though. Okay, bishop h4. And I'm going to go for e4, e5. Expand in the center. I would actually prefer to have my pawn on c3 instead of the knight, but this is still okay. Let's play bishop c4. Aggressive, c5. Let's play queen d2, although am I inviting g4? He might have had g4 there. Maybe queen f4 was a way to mix it up. Now we have a dragon-like position. Let's play bishop b3 followed by castle's queenside. And I am going to look to attack. Maybe I want to play f4 first. Let's play f4 first. Just so rook c8 followed by knight c4 doesn't happen. This looks a little more enterprising, huh? Okay, let's play knight f5, see if I can get his light square bishop. Interesting position here. Queen a5 hits this pawn. Thinking about moves like knight d5. Let's play knight d5. b2 might be loose, but I think it's okay for now. If he takes, I can play rook b1. I'm also threatening knight c7 check. Okay, now I was thinking about f6. Seems like an attractive way to just blunt his bishop. Let's do it. Messes up his pawn structure. And now... Okay, let's play c3. It's tempting to play f5, but I think he can play h5 and try to get his bishop to h6, so I'm going to keep this pawn on f4 for now. And see how that pans out. Let's play rook here. I'm going to look to double. Yeah, maintain the pawn on f4. Try to restrict that bishop further. Because I think playing f5 doesn't really help for him, so... Okay, let's double these guys up. And now maybe here. Okay, I can play g4 here. Is interesting. Let's do it. Because he can't take, he's pinned. Okay, creative. Which way to take? Both moves are kind of tempting. I think I'm going to take this way. Because I feel like this pawn's a goner anyways. So let's play that, tuck the king away. And my argument is that h5 is still falling, and I also have f6 if I want it. Knight is still dominant on d5. He needs to get rid of this knight, but it takes a little while to do something like this. Okay. Let's play f6 now. And I'm going to try to play rook takes h5 on the next move. The bishop has to go somewhere very poor, like bishop f8. I think rook takes h5 followed by rook f7 makes a lot of sense. Okay, so rook h7 with pressure on f7 coming. Here, this knight is loose. I could give a check, but it's probably not leading to much. Just thinking if I want to allow knight c4 or not. Might be simpler just to play this move. Oh, I dropped a2. Although it may not matter too much. Yeah, let's just continue with the plan. Have to watch out for knight takes b3 tricks. Isn't this rook getting trapped now? Did he trap his own rook? I think he just did. He has a check here, I suppose. King b1. King a3 is fine. Yeah, this bishop being here is not an issue because my knight is just so solid on d5. I'm threatening this. Maybe even rook h8. Yeah, this is totally crushing. But given my form this session, let's not relax, shall we? Okay, bishop comes out. Bring this guy over. And I think that's pretty much going to be it. He could attack my knight, rook d2, but that's hardly going to make a difference. Knight e7, or even rook takes h6, followed by rook h8. Knight d8, rook f8 are fine. Ooh, looks like he's offline. Well, I will take it. I think the key move in this one was that f6 move on move 27. Or sorry, that's the second time I played f6. Move 19. Yeah. In hindsight, maybe he should take with the bishop instead. Although on bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, I can play bishop takes f7. This feels somewhat better for white. It's equal material. I have a bishop versus his knight, and he has some pawn weaknesses. So, all right. Well, last game of the session. All title players so far in this one. I'm not sure how great my position was out of the opening in this one as well. I do like that I played f4 prior to castling. My instinct here was castles, very much along the lines of a Dragon Sicilian, but black could at that point play rook c8 followed by knight c4, so I think timing f4 here made a bit more sense, although arguably I should not play knight f5, I'm not sure. All right, here's the last game of the session, playing a 25-68. I always get nervous when a player has a lot of numbers in their name. Okay, if they play knight f6, am I gonna take on d5? Sorry if I sound a little stuffed up, guys. I think I caught a tiny bit of a cold. You know, one of those colds you feel like it's gonna go away in a day or two. I don't feel like it's bowling me over or anything. All right, he's choosing a bit of a passive setup here. That is fine by me. Let's play bishop g3. Invite him to make the trade. I'll play rook c1. Try to delay a decision in terms of castling. See if I can get him to take and open the file. Maybe I will get ambitious and play knight e5 coming up. Yeah, I could try for knight e5 here. That pawn sometimes gets weak, but it's an interesting move. Let's try it. He hesitated a bit before playing queen e7, so maybe this will yield something. Knight d7. So this pawn may not actually be hanging because I do have bishop takes h7. But let's protect it. f4. F5. Interesting. Okay, let's play knight e2. Or knight e2, rather. I'm going to try to pivot for this square. If check, I'll play queen d2. That endgame feels a little bit better for me. Okay. Let's castle. Bishop d7, solid. All right, now I'm going to pull this bishop back. If he puts the knight in on e4, I may have to take it at some point. I don't necessarily want to take it right away, but we'll see what happens. Let's play knight d4 here. I'd like to get this bishop doing something. It's not really pulling its own weight right now. Yeah, I think that knight is coming into the e4 square. Let's take with the queen. Let's play rook over. All right, I'm going to try to avoid taking that knight for the time being, although he has bishop e2 against that move. Annoying. But then I have bishop b4, I guess. Invites queen h4. That could get kind of dicey. All right, I think I have to take this, as much as I don't want to. I think it's nearly forced. Takes that way. Surprising again. Okay, now I'm going to try this. And again, at bishop e2, I'm looking to play bishop b4. So he's going to get out of the way. Fair enough. Let's play this anyways. So opposite color bishops. We're looking at more trades here. Let's see if I can extract something from this. Maybe I can expand g4, f5. Not sure how much I want to weaken my king. I can also go for f5, perhaps. Yeah, maybe f5 is a move here. I think it's okay to play it right away. Let's try it. Looks interesting. So if pawn takes, rook takes. He has a check here, but king f2, I feel like my king's escaping. And he's going to have issues with his own king. Okay. So if I just take e6, I get mated. That's an issue. Let's not do that. I can take c6 first, or maybe play a4 even. I got to decide quickly. Let's play f6, actually. Try to get a passed pawn here. Attempt to create some problems around his king. Didn't like that queen f1 threat lurking. Okay. Let's play b3. I gotta hurry now. If takes in b6, how confident am I that bishop takes b6 is acceptable? I'm not sure about that, but we'll find out. I think my king escapes still. So let's make him make that decision. Let's play a4. Yikes. Do not know what to play here. Tried something. Try to make some room for my king to escape. This guy's fearless. Okay, I have some threats now. It's about who's going to be more aggressive in attacking the enemy king here. I'm playing for the win. His king is a lot less safe than mine right now, it feels. Let's take that. Let's go bishop d4. Yeah, he managed to stabilize things, but I have options of checking. He's not going to make it. I'm threatening queen g3 here. Okay, oof. So with opposite color bishops, the side who's attacking often has the advantage. And that was borne out, at least in the time pressure. So, all right. Well, I somewhat salvaged this session to make it to 2 out of 5, 40% score, but oh, those first few games were rough, guys. Felt like I was a little bit getting back into the swing of things in the second game against Sofa in Disguise and also this player, but yeah, what did I blunder in the first game? Oh yeah, that was where I blundered the piece. I got my wires crossed. Not even sure this is a great idea, what I was planning on doing. Taking on d4, bishop takes c7, then rook c8, trying to attack both of these. Somehow this looks like it's going to go wrong. And then in the other game against Sofa, I just straight blundered my queen in almost certainly a completely winning position. Although, admittedly, king f7 is a big mistake because that is a fork and my knight is pinned. So I should play something like maybe rook d8 right away here. Or rook f6 was another option I was thinking of. Rook f6, king f8. Try to slide that king a little bit closer. Although knight b6 still might be an issue. But yeah, this should be navigable with a reasonable course of action. All right. So hope that was entertaining. Yeah, I have not played really any Blitz chess in the past couple months. I have been playing a little bit OTB. I played an OTB tournament a couple weeks ago here in Minnesota and did all right. I gained a few FIDE points. It was a 5-round tournament called the Golden Gopher Open. I'll put the link to the cross table if you're curious. I played 3 Grandmasters in the 5 games. All those games were draws, and then I defeated 2 lower-rated players. So not bad. But yeah, I've been busy with other things. And one major project I'm working on right now is the video course for 100 endgames you must know. I'm making the videos for that course on Chessable. It's the course itself is by Grandmaster Jesus de la Villa. It was a book published in, I believe, the mid-2000s, late 2000s. And I'm doing the videos for it. It's taking quite a bit of time, but I think the finished product will be pretty nice. And I'm also able to brush up on my endgames a lot in making this course. Evidently, I need to brush up on my practical play and calculation, though, by virtue of this session. But I'll be back at it. Thanks, as always, for watching, guys. Hope you're doing well. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.